Hey folks, welcome to Guitar Daily. It's Nick Granville coming to you from Wellington, New Zealand. Today I thought I'd discuss the Gibson Les Paul and why people don't use it for jazz, or at least nowadays, right? I think you'd probably all agree that it sounded fairly decent in that track, right? It's an interesting instrument, isn't it? Because it adorns the name of Les Paul. Now Les Paul, for those who don't know, was a jazz guitar player, right? This was not intended as a rock instrument. It's kind of become that, right? Les Paul's a jazz player, fantastic player, who, along with Mary Ford, did some amazing work, right? Some say he invented multi-track recording and all kinds of recording, and invented electric guitars and all kinds of things. He was an inventor, really. But it's an interesting thing, isn't it? Like, the intention of this instrument was a jazz instrument, as Les Paul showed, and then now it's kind of become a rock instrument, right? That's how people would see it. And I think part of that is Slash, right? Slash playing a Les Paul with low slung with his hat and his whole thing. Looks super cool, right? And it sounds great for rock stuff, you know? You know, that's what these instruments do really well. But they're a jazz instrument too, and I think I know the reason why jazz players typically don't play one of these. The only guy I can really find kind of still, or girl, like anybody, really playing one now is Ulf Wykenius. Fantastic guitar player, Swedish guitar player, known for his work with Oscar Peterson, but also all kinds of things around. And the interesting thing is, I think his is an ARIA Pro, so play authentic, right, Gibson? Use whatever you want. That play authentic thing is a load of rubbish, right? Trying to guilt trip people, but nonetheless. But Ulf is about the only person I can find that still is using a Les Paul to play jazz. And these instruments are really good for jazz. Listen to that sustain. You can't beat a Les Paul for sustain. So this is a Gibson Les Paul Studio. So these were the USA made ones that just didn't have the binding and all that kind of stuff, but same woods materials, same American built guitar. This one I've actually changed the Gibson pickups. These are Seymour Duncan Antiquities, which I like. They're really good. I've had these in here a long time. It's a very usable jazz tone. Right. Now I think a lot of jazz musicians kind of tend to favour more an instrument like this. Alright, this is my old Gibson L4. This is from 1948. It's an old L4, full hollow body. Right, full hollow body guitar. These are sort of more the instruments that a lot of jazz players favour. And I think part of it is because this, straight off the bat, this looks like a jazz guitar, right? If I turn up with this instrument, you may have already kind of made up your mind what I'm going to be playing, right? I might be turning up to play rock on this. Now, I'm not going to do that. This wouldn't be my choice. It's a unique kind of tone, right? I probably use it for recording, but and also too, I'm running through a Fractal FM9 right now. This whole debate I've been talking about in the last few days about amps. If I was using an amp, I wouldn't be able to do that. It would have been feeding back like mad on this guitar. And you know, I've got a microphone just out of shot too, and that would be clipping from the amp, right? But I think there's a reason that people play this instead of this sort of instrument, right? I think this sort of instrument, people think rock guitar by looking at it. And I think this sort of instrument, people think jazz guitar. So I think a lot of jazz guitar players have kind of gone that way. And the acoustic thing, you know, yeah, the Les Paul is such a great guitar. I just think that people don't see them as jazz guitars, and they should, you know. Although this is good too. I'll play a little bit more of that track that I was just playing, which was All the Things You Are, but using this guitar. prefer the sound of this instrument when I've got the microphone on. I turned it off for a second there, but I think that's part of it, right? I think the acoustic thing is part of it too. An instrument like this being hollow is much better when you're playing with, say, double bass, guitar and drums, like a guitar trio. This instrument really comes into its own and that kind of thing, more so than a Les Paul would, because it doesn't have that acoustic kind of quality. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think a Les Paul can be a jazz guitar nowadays? I think so. Do you think more people should be playing Les Pauls to play jazz? I think so. Well, let me know what you think. Do you disagree? Do you think more people should play old Gibsons? They already do, right? Great guitar. Really like this. So I'll play out with a little more on the Les Paul for comparison. I think one thing with the Les Pauls too is they're really heavy. You know what I mean? They're not that much fun to hold. One of the reasons I don't play this guitar more often is it's just... The Les Paul is just too heavy. Right? It's like, whoa, you feel it straight away.